We actually have footage. My guys were spraying a home, the perimeter of the vegetation, and the wind's blowing everywhere. And like there are palm trees, like everything's igniting. But we have footage, and I'll try to remind Vincent to plug this in, where there's a home literally on fire, and then it just leans over and
Yeah.
just ignites the next one. And it's like, there's so much. You're right, right?
But the problem is, as soon as it hits structures, there's not really a fuel model, even though structures become fuel. There's not a fuel model for structures. So it gets painted the same way you would paint a street, non-burnable. The whole thing's non-burnable. It's like asphalt. And so you have the carriers kind of do like a nice buffer outside of this and say, okay, this far out is going to be moderate risk, this far out it's going to be low risk, and this far out it's going to be no risk. And I want to ride in the no risk, I'm going to ride in the low risk. And then all of a sudden, all the low risk burns down because they didn't realize that the roads were aligned all the way to the ocean in the Palisades. I mean, that's really kind of what happens. Does but what we're actually seeing a lot of the times is that one home will ignite, and it's not 90% of embers are burning down properties. It's you know those embers are igniting properties, and then that property is wiping out the whole block. And
Mm.
that's not an ember fallout issue. That is a conflagration risk issue. And so now that the insurance carrier understand there's a blind spot there, and so there's quite a bit of tools and different models and different ways that everyone's kind of starting to think about conflagration risk, to really kind of refocus our wildfire models.
It's interesting that the the vegetation is considered fuel, the street is not, and the house is considered a street. Like that's really like that's
It's just
gonna
all
change.
non-burnable. It's just a big
Yeah.
gray area. It just says not
It's
burnable.
if you have an ignition there, it really becomes the glass that becomes the sensitive weakness of the home. And they're dual pane, and that's great. Uh, but there's enough radiant heat, and then in some cases enough flames that are just going to attack the glass. And as soon as that happens, you got the drapes, the couches, the drywalls on fire, and it's out of control. Then the house is gone. And so a lot of this research that's been done is really, really critical for all of us to really heed the warning and understand that when we're driving up to our home, if we see vegetation that's within 5 feet of the home, look at that as a very vulnerable place of where embers can ignite and begin to gather, and then they cause their own little bonfire. Next thing you know, we got a full blown problem.